Okay, so these are coming in 2-minute clips at a time based on the recording that I'm using, the recording app. So first I am on the Canvas page where I've pulled up, I initially had my link to the music test on GitHub, but now I have it to store to, as I made additional changes when you gave an additional time for my late penalty submission. So now I'm moving on to my GitHub and I'm going to my store to GitHub repository so that I can go and clone everything. So I'm going to download it as a zip, going through downloading it on my system just to do the demo. Okay, waiting for it to open right now. I'm just going to go through and I'm setting everything up as I go to show that this is the same as what the TA would do. So I'm going to go through and extract all of this. I'm going to call this Brown test. Extracting all the files. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to open up my IntelliJ, as that's the platform I use to run it. Okay, so I've got that there. That's opened up, so I don't need that anymore. Waiting for IntelliJ to open now. There we go. IntelliJ is opening up. Okay, just waiting for IntelliJ to open up. So I'm going to pause this video here since we don't need you to wait. Okay, so I'm going to go through and import a project. As I've already downloaded the project, I would go down to my downloads, and now instead of Brown, it's Brown test. Go through, and now I just have to wait for it to upload, and I'm going to select Maven, and then I need to go through and select here, and that it is in actually Brown test, and then I select the folder in which my GitHub repository and all of the code is in. Okay, so this is the second clip going on. So now I'm going to click Next after selecting my GitHub repository file at the top here. So now we've got Next. Then I'm going to select the given, I believe, the REST API, yep, and going on Next. Next, just a couple, just setting everything up. Doesn't quite matter what I call this, so I'll call this Brown test. Well, I'll just call this test. Make it a little simpler. Okay, now IntelliJ should be opening up. Cool, there we go. Okay. Just waiting for everything to load at the moment. I'll pause this while it's loading. Okay, now I'm going to edit configurations to add Tomcat into this. Okay, so let's go through and add Tomcat into my project. So I'm doing local as I'm running it locally. Just changing this to 81, as prior I had issues with running 8080 on my laptop. There was issues with the Tomcat on my laptop as well as the Tomcat IntelliJ conflicting, so I'm just changing that information. Okay, now we need to go to deployment, and then I select the artifact. It has to be the exploited music war artifact. Just the artifact tagged along with my project. Okay. So now I've got my entire project running. Now I've got to open up MySQL, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now MySQL's opening. I'm doing the local instance over here. And now I've got to type in my password, so I'll pause it for a moment while I do that. Okay, so now I have MySQL open. I am using the data table called music, as I had implemented this off the music platform. I'm going to pause this for the next video now. Okay, so this is the last bit of setup. I'm going to be pausing this in between so you don't have to watch all of the setup. The first thing is I'm going to have to go through and change the MySQL information in the folders to match my MySQL database. So I'm going to pause this while I get to the correct folders. So first I'm going to go through and I'm going to change the username and password in the application properties, and I'm going to change it in all the DAO layers so that it's connected to my database. So I'm going to pause this while I go ahead and do this. Okay, so now as you can see, I have changed the information. So now I'm connected to the MySQL, and I'm connected to the table that is in the schema that is in accordance with the music, and I've got my correct username and password in. So I'm going to pause this now for a second. So now I'm going to run my local instance here. Just waiting for IntelliJ to run. So I'm going to pause this while it is upload. Well, I guess I'll keep it running just so you can see the log as it runs. It's just waiting for it. It'll be here in a minute. Okay, all the logs are coming up, and it's going to pop up on my Internet Explorer in a moment, and then I'll pause it as soon as it pops up. Okay, so just waiting for everything to load. So as you can see, there is a list grid view implemented. So we have list, we've got grid, we can go back to list if you want to. We've got 10 product tiles with the price down below, as well as the description. You've got an add to cart, as well as more information. You click more information, you're prompted to the information. That was the fourth item, if you can tell. I'll do the first item so you can get a better idea. More information, first item gives all the information. Okay, so the last video ended a little bit abruptly. I wanted to show you that all the description information coming from products is coming from my table of products in my schema music. All over here, and so I've got 20 products because that was how you chose to populate with the SQL script, but I'm selecting the first 10 for the tiles for the information as you had described using 10 product tiles. And so if we go back to our web page over here, that's where all this more information is coming from. It's grabbing all the information from the tiles, whereas specific information is grabbed in these small boxes. Okay, and you can click any more information and you'll grab the specific information for that tile. And like I said, we have over here a list and a grid view. And then going further in, if you expand this page a little bit, you'll see the shopping cart little icon and the user icon. If you go to shopping cart, there's breadcrumbs back to the home page, as well as if you go to the user page, breadcrumbs back. And on either page, there's a registration button where you can register or go back to the home page. Okay, so now that we've covered all of that information, let's go on into the add cart button, add to cart. And so this is in the table cart in the music schema. So initially I've truncated the table to make it empty so as to make it easier to scroll through and see when you add an item to a cart. So I'll add the Mel shorts to the cart and we'll see they should pop up. There we go, one Mel shorts, all the information is populated. Let's go in and add female sandals, which would be the very last item, so it should give us an item ID of 10. There we go. And you can just go through and add as many items as you want to the cart. And they should all populate there, as we see. So there we go, we've added that. I'm going to pause for a moment. Okay, so I quickly want to address the general flow that I have touched. We've touched a home screen with a product view. We've displayed 10 products in tile view with some information. We've displayed a Okay, as a summary, in the last video where I ended, there's a home screen product view that I have 10 products with the tile view and a list view. There's breadcrumbs to get to the home page from any page. I've got more information that provides all the information the products from the database, as well as you can add an item to your shopping cart, any item as many times as you want to. And so now we're going to discuss user login. So you go here, and I've been messing around with it, of course, but let's start on. And so also here from customers at the table in the database, it has all of the prior customers. So let's go in and let's try PH Brown. Well, let's not do PH Brown because that's the one I was just currently testing. Let's go over and let's try username app. So you see Amber Jack, AP Jack. So all the information comes up. There's a little glitch in this page that in order to do the update, I must first refresh to get the most updated information by the user information that I just put in. So I have app right there. So now app should be in, the cookie should be in there. So now we can go through and do the update. And so now let's go do and change this over here and run the SQL script again. And if you go here where there's app, now it's test, trial, trial. So the problem with this one was just it would always get the first user or the user before, and so you just have to update the page to update the cookie so that you're updating the correct user profile. Okay, so now let's try if the user wasn't registered. So let's try BHD, for instance. So if you click login, it redirects you to the registration page where you can put first, last name, username, and email in. So let me pause this for a second so I can write in create a user. Okay, so I'm going to create a user with all fields being test. Let's see if this goes through and works. And now let me pause this so I can update the MySQL script. So you can see at the very end. Okay, so I just want to do a brief overview of what we've covered. So first, going on to here, when an item is added to shopping cart, we need to require a user login. So instead of doing that, I did mine a little differently because I was having some difficulties. You can log in into the shopping cart page and you can see your first name, last name, and your past carts, all the information. But also, we have items in the cart. This is a temporary storage of items. And what happens is when you click purchase, based on the user login, the ID, that identification goes and stores into a separate shopping cart that's customers' carts, where it stores the ID and then the information per cart. So then basically you have to be logged in to do purchase a cart instead of having to log into the shopping cart and then just be able to purchase and save it that way. Instead I saved it when you click purchase, it saves per the user that's logged in. That cart saves that way later to be accessed with a pass cart. Okay, so after elaborating on that, then we can go in. So we've already covered that the user can input information, that it confirms whether user exists. If the user doesn't exist, it bumps them to the registration page. And then we've got over here, I've used cookies, maybe not as well implemented as they should have been, but I did use cookies to store the user ID once you do login, and that's how you get the information as well as the pass card information. And so you can also access your profile from any page. If you go to the home page, you can see that you can go to the user page. From the shopping cart page, you can go to the home page, or you can just see your user information here with pass carts information, all that, as well as the information is on the user page. Okay, so we've covered that. And then we also have the user info over here and list previous purchases. So I'm going to go through and make a purchase in a minute. It's probably going to be the next video, and we will show with the user access. So now I'm going to display the cart information. I'm going to add a few more items to the cart as I've accidentally already displayed it when it wasn't running. So let's go to the shopping cart over here. We're going to do PR Brown, and I'm just going to log in, refresh, and then you don't really need to log in again, but I'm doing that just in case to make sure my cookie's saved. You see over here, we've got some past carts, already information, as I had accidentally done the past carts before when it wasn't actually recording. So this is transaction number 1, transaction number 2. I had just added twice to the cart. If you go over here, the cart table is a temporary cart. Customer cart is where the information per customer is per cart. The products in the cart per customer are saved in here. So we have a cart ID and we have a customer ID, and then we have the item IDs parsed into a string where I get the information later by parsing that string. And so if you see over here, this would be the total purchase price. This would be the price with an 8% sales tax included. That was requested. So if we click purchase over here and we go back over to our customer cart database over here, we'll see, okay, so now we've got customer ID 1, which is tagged along with PR Brown, has now made a new purchase. These are now the items. You can see you have 1, 10, 8, and then you have 12 and 2 is the product numbers that correspond with it, and a price of $6,402.90. Okay, so now that we've corrected purchase, I'm just going to pause this for a minute. Okay, so over here we've processed to the customer to the shopping cart view. We have added a 8% sales tax, as well as I've seen that you can use, okay, so now we want to show that you can access shopping cart from, so the shopping cart's in the home page, but you can also see past carts if you see over here from the user page, go back to the home page, and then you have shopping cart back in here again. Okay, and also that is it for the Okay, so this is the very last video. It's just going quickly over the description of everything, giving an overview. So we've got my schema, music is what it's called. And then I have all the tables. So disregard albums. Cart is a temporary storage where pretty much whatever information when you click add to cart is the information that goes, whatever product information that you want or products you want. And whereas when you log in as a customer, I use a cookie to save that customer ID. Of course, you need to refresh the page to update the cookie when you do log in as a new person. And then after that, the customer carts is where the information goes. It stores the cart number as well as the customer ID, the person that buys all the items. And then we have the customers as well and the products in my database. And then you go over here, we've seen the entire layout of the screen of that, and that's pretty much everything for the demo.